This video will assist you in printing W-2s and generating electronic W-2 files if you are an electronic filer. These tasks will start at the Payroll Control Center, which we are displaying at this time on the screen. Before printing W-2s, you may need to enter some additional information. So from the Control Center, you can click on W-2 information, and this screen will appear. After entering the year, you can select a department if you just need to edit employees in a specific department, or you can display all employees as we've done here. As you can see, if you have a restaurant or other business where employees receive tips, you may be required to enter allocated tips. Other things are dependent care expenses, PS 58 costs, fringe benefits, and so on. There are a number of different items listed here, including type of deferred compensation or pension plan, expense reimbursements, Roth IRAs, contributions by an employer to an HSA plan, and employer health coverage. But it is unlikely that you're going to need to put something in all of these entries. So to speed the entry process, you can select the columns that you need. In this case, we are going to need to enter some information about our pension plan and employer health coverage. So we have just left those items checked, and the screen is automatically reconfigured just with those items. As you can see, we have a few employees that are covered by a pension plan, and that's indicated by the checkbox for the pension. This pension flag was set in the employee file, and that carries over into the archive file when we archive at the end of the year. But these employees also deferred some of their compensation into that pension plan. The Compile Deferred Compensation button will check each employee's wages to see what they have deferred to the pension plan for the year and fill in that information. It will also set a special code that will indicate the type of pension plan. So we click on the Compile Deferred Comp button. We select the wage type that is used for deferred compensation. We enter the starting and ending dates of the year, and then we indicate the type of pension plan. In this case, we'll make it a 401k plan. And we click on the Start button. When we go back to the Edit Additional Information, you can see that this information is now filled in. Everyone that is in the pension plan has an indication that it is a 401k plan, and the amount of wages that they deferred to the pension plan is listed here. Now let's say we provided some employer health coverage. We can then enter the amount that we paid for that coverage, and that could vary by employee. These numbers will have to be compiled from your health insurance records. Once you have entered all of the additional W-2 information, you can print a report so that you have a verification that all information has been entered correctly. Once you've completed editing and checking all of the additional W-2 information, we can print W-2s. So we go back to the Control Center and click on the Print W-2 button. The program will warn you that you do need to enter additional information, which we've done. So now we have the Print W-2 screen. And there are a number of selections that we need to make here. First of all, of course, we have the year entered automatically. The top margin is determined by the type of W-2. So as we change to different types of W-2s, you will see the top margin change. However, we strongly suggest that you preview the W-2s and then print 1 or 2 pages on blank paper and make sure that they align correctly with the form you are using. If necessary, you can override the margin setting to get better registration. There is an entry here for state to select as well, but you should leave this blank. All employees should be printed together regardless of what state they are in. You would not normally print W-2s by state, since the W-3 form has to include the totals for all employees in all states. You do need to select type of employees, whether regular or agricultural. If you have both regular and agricultural employees, they will be printed separately, and you will need to print a W-3 for the regular employees and the agricultural employees separately. Printer type. It indicates here that you can use a laser or inkjet or a dot matrix printer. However, we no longer support printing W-2s on a dot matrix printer. You should be using an inkjet or laser printer and the appropriate laser forms. Type of W-2. You need to select the type of W-2 that you are printing. If you're not reporting electronically, you would normally use the 2 per page format. This is the official IRS format. These W-2s can be purchased in packets labeled 6-part forms, and they include copy A, B, C, D, 1, and 2. You actually will need to print the W-2s 6 times, 1 for each copy. The 3 per page W-2 prints 3 copies for 1 employee on a page. No copy is printed for the Social Security Administration. This format is used for electronic filers that do not need a Social Security copy. The 4 per page W-2 prints 4 copies for 1 employee on a page. Again, no copy is printed for the Social Security Administration. This is used only for electronic filers. The employer copy is an option that is used to print a copy that you can save internally for your own use on a facsimile printed form. Employees to print. You would always use the default of all employees to print when initially printing your W-2s. If for some reason you have to stop and start again, you can also use the resume printing to start with a specific employee. Or you can just preview the entire batch and print selected pages. The single employee option can be used if you need to reprint a W-2 for an employee that has lost his. Finally, print order. You can select alphabetic, account number, or Social Security number order. When using the resume printing option, however, you must know which employee to start with based on the order in which they are being printed. So let's print some W-2s now for a non-electronic filing. We're going to use the 2 per page format. You would preview these on the screen, and we have printed our regular employees. And here are the W-2s previewed on the screen. Now, as we mentioned, if you're using the 2 per page, and you're using the 6-part form, you would actually need to print these 6 times. So you would load the printer with copy A, and then go to the print button and print those pages. You would then load the printer with the next copy, copy B, and then print them again until you would continue until you have printed all copies. And then you can close your print job. When we close the print job, you'll notice that it's asking us if we want to print the W3. We would click yes at this time if this is our final W2 run. We would enter the contact person. Make sure that our email address and our telephone number are correct, and enter our fax number if we have it. Click OK. We would then insert the W3 into the printer, and we have it previewed on the screen here. We could then print that out. Now, if you have both agricultural and regular employees, you would click on agricultural and then go through the same process of previewing, printing, and then printing the W3. If you are an Arizona employer, in addition to the W3, the program will compile the necessary information to print the Arizona A-1R information return. If the program detects any Arizona employees, you will be prompted to print this form, and the program will fill in the necessary information for you. This completes the W2 printing. Now, returning to the control center, if you are filing electronically, then you would click on the electronic W2 button. This screen will appear to allow you to generate the Federal Social Security Administration file. As you'll notice, again, the year is filled in. We have the federal file selected. We click into destination drive path, and it will automatically enter that for us. And then we can click on the generate button. When we click on the generate button, the electronic file transmitter information comes up. Make sure that all of this information is correct. If it isn't, you can correct it at this time. Click OK. And as you'll notice, we have not entered our PIN, so we need to do that. And we should enter a contact name, a phone number, and an email. Click OK. Tells us that our PIN number must be 8 characters. Our file has been generated, and now we have a report which gives us our totals for the regular employees and the agricultural employees, and it also tells us where the file is located, the zip file that we would need to upload to the Social Security Administration. Although you have to print regular and agricultural W-2s separately for paper filing, there is only one file that is generated for electronic reporting, and it will show you exactly where this file is located. So we suggest that you print this form out so that you have a permanent record of the totals and you know where to get the file to upload to the Social Security website. This screen can also be used to generate an annual MMREF style electronic file for certain states. To do so, you would click on Annual State File, and you would enter the state that you want to generate. If you click on the More Info button, you will notice that the program tells you which states are currently supported. You can print an MMREF file for Arizona, Georgia, and Oregon. So if you need to generate a file for one of these states, select the annual file state option and then enter the two-letter state abbreviation. This concludes the W-2 and electronic file video.